thing cuts us off, nothing we can do about it. But hey, everyone, I am Jim Gast with No Law Firm Left Behind, and I'm joined today by Dave Myers with Buckingham and our wonderful, wonderful, most awesome guest, Deifilia Diaz. We lovingly call her Day because we've known her for so long, and she's such a great personality, does such a great job in her area of law. Day, we're going to talk about niching and such in a practice area for today. But I'd love for you to just kind of tell everybody who you are, what you do, and what you're all about.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I love to be with you guys today, and thank you very much for everybody that is listening. So when I explain what I do, I say that I'm a transmuter. So I transmute pain, the most horrible and biased situations, into love, freedom, and opportunity. And I do that by being an immigration attorney. My clients come to me because they seek representation, but by being a victims of crimes, felonious assault, rape, domestic violence, aggravated robbery, minors that have come to the country because they are fleeing for church, they're seeking for refugee. So I'm just a tool, a box just full of tools, and they use me so they can have freedom, abundance, satisfaction, fulfillment in the United States.
That's awesome. And so what's interesting today, and we've known you again. We've known you for what, 10
10
years?
years
10
plus.
years, easy 10 years. And so having you on is such a fun thing and a joy. But what from a marketing and a business perspective, Day, what you represent today on the show is not only fantastic immigration attorney, but the power of niching for attorneys, right? And we talked about that a little while ago about how it's not that you just kind of like tell us how you got into doing what you're doing. Just tell us. I mean, niching is really focusing on an area, and becoming the go-to party for it. How did you get there?
Um, it is a little bit by coincidence, but also knowing and trusting that the universe is going to put you in the spot that you have to be. So it is aligning yourself and also detaching from the burden of the expectations that your parents, society, and sometimes even yourself have about you. So I think that, I think that it started a long time ago. So I did a session when the pandemic started about knowing your why with Simon Sinek. So
Wow.
you have to tap into your subconscious about why you're doing what you do right now. And so I started, I think, this journey when I was 10 years old, and it was in Mexico. And I saw a kid that it was selling candy in one of the in the stop signs. And I got to ask my mom why he's selling those candies. And I also saw the parents just sitting in the corner because you feel pity for a boy instead of an adult, right? So at that point, my mom have kept asking me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And at that point, I said, as any kid will dream, I wanted to be the president of Mexico. So I can't believe that people, like kids, are suffering. So I think that back in then, I started with this innate feeling that I wanted to help. And everybody says that, when I interview people, everybody says, I want to help. But I wanted to help people that are vulnerable. So somehow I started with that, and seeking through Mexico. I volunteer in Yale, like women that are in Yale. Then came into the United States. I met Louis, and he pointed out to me, immigration law, and then victims of crime, kids that have been neglected, abused, or abandoned. And it just happened. It's just defining what is pulling you and trusting the process, which I think that is very difficult, just to trust that is something great for you, that I will align with your purpose.
It, it's actually sometimes it's scary enough to hang your hat and hang your shingle as an attorney, you know, and then to only align yourself with a certain practice area, right? Sure, you could have said, okay, I'm going to do estate planning for everybody, or I'm going to do a DR for everybody, but you knew your purpose, and it just kind of drove you into that niche. I mean, were you afraid when you started doing this about that you wouldn't have enough clients?
It didn't even cross my mind, honestly. I mean, I didn't have anything to lose because at that point I didn't have a son. I was not married. I didn't have any mortgage. I was very poor.
Yeah.
So I didn't have anything to lose, rather to just pursue what I wanted. However, if I would have to put, like pay some bills, I will be more hesitant. However, what I will say is I will use my rocking chair test. So if by the end of your life, you're in a rocking chair, right? You're like, I cannot even talk anymore. Like you are very old and you're going to be regretting the things that you didn't do, then jump for it. So if you think that you cannot do, you must do.
Yeah. That's good sense. Dave, this, as I said earlier, just before the show, as I'm writing up our post today for the show, you know, Dave's a fantastic example. Defilia's I go back and forth with Day and Defilia. I like them both, by the way. Of course. But I thought of you, Dave, when we're talking about the show today, about how, before you were guardian ad litem, you were M&A, tax law, kind of, you weren't niched, but you had honed in certain things, and then you came with me at SpliceNet, and got the knock from Buckingham because of your area of expertise had really narrowed in, and oh yeah, you happen to be an attorney too. Wow, what a fantastic thing! So
And that's actually one of the things that I wanted to ask, Day. When it comes to niching, there's always the chicken and the egg
ooh.
situation. Did you find that you built up a a knowledge base in order to help a certain group, or was it helping the certain group and saying, I'm going to help a certain group, that allowed you to build up the particular knowledge base?
That's a phenomenal question, and I'm just buying some time to you see.
Which is just fine by us.
Yeah. I think that in my whole life, I have trust my intuition so much that when Louis, my business partner, said, because I came back to Cincinnati because I met my husband and I didn't know what to do because my purpose it was gonna be to stay in DC. So when I came back and I reached out to Louis, he said, "Come and work with me," and I said, "No, thank you, because you do DR and criminal work, and I really dislike that." He said, "But there is an area of law that there is not much practice, that is UBISAs, victims of crime, and SHS for kids." And he just said that. And I said, okay, well, I will take a look. So I will say that it just happened hand to hand that he didn't have any. He said, "I have a couple of cases, see if you like it." So he gave me the cases, and then I bought a book because I have no clue, and I love books. I'm so nerdy. So I bought a book, and it just connected. So I don't know if it's there is a right recipe, Dave. Like, you first wait for the clients and then you acquire the knowledge. It is like they have to be both like this.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. If I would say, for example, if I wanted to bring or open my practice to business immigration, which I don't have it right now, I would say, okay, I would take a case where I feel connected, where I feel that I wanted to just dive, throw myself in it, because then you're going to be pulled into doing research, pulled
Right.
into that. And then is it something that I like? And then I would say, well, talk about it, and you can get referrals from that. So
Yes.
yeah.
So sort of the natural follow-on question to that, and this one's an easier question than the last one, because the last one's by the way, Day, I agree with you 100% on the two go hand in hand, and I think the intuition and the desire, I want to work with this particular area or this particular demographic or whatever your niche is. It has to be something that you're passionate about. As soon as you go after something you're passionate about, you'll do the work necessary to
Mm-hmm.
do it well. And so I think the key thing is, and I think I know your answer on this, for anyone out there listening to this show who might not be niched right now and might say, well, I don't know how I would go and get niched. What would you say the first thing that they would want to do is?
Ooh, I think that's a tougher question than the first one, Dave.
I think that you have to have massive action. You have to do something. It is very interesting of a lot of people, and it's just not attorneys. I think that that's a pandemic about it.
Yeah.
I really don't know what to do, but I wanted to do something that pulls me. I think, I would say just do it now, get up and do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just say, you're so intense, Dave. Yeah, well, you have to do and try it out and say, and be very honest with yourself and say, okay, I didn't like it. Why you don't like it? And then try it out. The thing with this, it is people like to be comfortable. And when they are tired at the end of the day, they don't want to just keep working on something else that is different from what they have done. So yeah, there's a lot of pain, but everything, it goes with what do you also save more pain and pleasure with?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you say, okay, it's gonna be, I have to break the barrier of being trying something different at the end of my working day, 9 to 5, whatever it is, but that possibly is gonna bring me more pleasure at the end of the road, then you have a huge leverage on yourself. Like, for example, my husband, which is not an attorney, but it's a great example. I have been drilling this because he's a designer, he's a creative mind, he's an artistic mind. So he designs, but he doesn't design everything that he wants. So he have discovered that forging knives is something where he likes to do it. So he goes Wednesday from 6 to 9, and I don't get to see him in the evening, but that's okay because he's doing something that he likes. What about forging? Yeah, like, hammering a knife, and then the blades and the colors that he puts, and it's just a piece of art, which is the same thing that you have to do. So I think that it will say, do it, try an error, and then allow yourself to say, I don't want it. Yes, I want to know more about this, or I want to shift something. And then just be bold. I think that is something that be bold, and let's enjoy the failure, the gift that failure has.
Oh gosh, why is everybody so afraid of failure? I mean, you learn so much through it. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, of course we love success. Everybody wants success. Just like we said, we're not doing this for yeah, we do sometimes do things for charity, of course, but we need money to survive, right? And do what we want to do in life. But you said just go do it. And I love that. Just get up and go do it. Don't be afraid, failure's going to come and you're going to learn from that failure.
Yeah. But I will ask both of you, you two have kids, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how many times do you praise your kids? You praise more for fails, or you praise more for success? So, and that's ingrained in us. That's something that we teach. It's not something that we are just, we came like this. So Sarah Blakely, the one that invented Spanx, which I don't think that you knew because it's for women. So anyway, so whatever. So she just sold her business. So everybody that is an entrepreneur, we want an exit strategy, right? So she just sold her business for, I think, 1 or 2 more millions, right? So it is just tights, Spanx. And her father, he was an attorney, every single time at the table asked her, what did you fail? So if she didn't have an answer for him, it was like, okay, you didn't do enough today, because you're not pushing yourself to a limit where you're not trying enough, something new where you're failing at. So it means that you're not learning.
I tell my kids, when something doesn't go their way, and I say to them, remember that it's a percentage game, right? You're going to fail, you're going to fail, you're going to fail, and then you're going to succeed. You're going to fail, you're going to fail, you're going to fail. Every failure puts you much closer to that next success. And I think that's important. So today I want to get back to talking about your practice and talking about how you're so connected. I will tell you that I want to hear you tell people the story of the painting behind you, because it's such a beautiful painting, by the way.
Oh, the painting here.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
great painting.
this painting.
Yeah,
Wait.
right
Okay.
there, right there.
So it is a Frida Kahlo. I don't know if you knew who Frida Kahlo. Okay, she's dead. She was a painter, a Mexican painter
Okay.
that was alive through the communism era. So she
Okay.
was a rebel. So I love it just because of that, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so it was painted by one of my clients that I met when I initially started working as an immigration attorney, and he was a victim of a crime. It took years for him to get his work permit, so for him to be able to get a better job, and he works at Amazon now. And but his true desires, his gift, it is in the arts, and I think that all his family has that gene. And there was competition in Amazon about art and talent, he drew this painting, um, and it was an expression of himself, and he didn't want to sell it anybody that it was offering. And then when he showed it to me, I'm like, I wanted to have it, please. And so when seeing him, his transformation, or how he arrived to my office at first, and then look at him that he's excelling and being able to have the time to paint, because before he didn't. It for me, it is an example. Right now, he's in the process to get a green card, so the best status of that any immigrant can get in the United States. So he's going to be safe in the country.
Yep.
For me, it is a reminder of the transformation and the opportunity and the space that all the humans deserve to have in this planet. So
Mhm.
despite of borders, despite of our colors, and I always wanted to just think about who said that I was gonna be Mexican. Who decide that? Who decide that they was gonna have a fairer skin than me? Who decide that? Right. So that's a reminder for the greatest opportunities that each another have, but yet we have not had the time to exploit, and they're dormant. So
You said it earlier, that exemplifies your, I think it was Simon Sinek you said, was your why,
yeah.
right? That gives you motivation. I said it
There's
earlier. Go ahead, Dave, please.
there's something else that I want to jump in here, and I want to make a comment. And when we look at a painting behind you, and we look at somebody following their passion, somebody who takes, and I know nothing about art, so I'm going to probably butcher this, all right? I don't know if it's oil or watercolor or whatever that's made out of, okay? Whatever
Medium.
media was used for that painting. This artist took these probably handful of colors, and through this skill and this passion used these tools to create this awesome thing that you now are benefiting from having on your wall. You mentioned at the onset of the show that you look at yourself as being a set of tools.
Yeah.
That, really you're more than just a set of tools. You're also the person using the tools to create, this real living, breathing painting of these people that now have a success that they didn't have before, just like your
True.
artist friend did. And it's just, but you only get there because of that desire, which I think comes back to the idea of niching.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
You're a living example of what you're doing for your customers, your clients.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's fantastic.
I really don't know how I ended up here, and it was I think that you get rewarded in public for what you practice inside, or you're behind doors. I don't know how is the phrase,
Yeah.
but my husband said, "Oh my goodness, that you spend so much time in your head. It's driving me crazy," and I think that that's what it has been. I always question myself, like, am I happy? Not happy in the sense like, like I'm genuinely feeling fulfilled and grateful.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean that I don't have bad days. Yes, I have many bad days every day, but I don't stay there. And I don't stay there because I know what is my purpose. And I do weird things. Weird things. I have Walk on Fire with Tony Robbins, and like it's fire, like
Wow.
cardio.
Yeah, right.
So yes, because it's stretching yourself. You have to be committed to stretch yourself, to live outside of the boundaries and who, like the boundaries that somebody put there. Um, so yes, I woke up at 4:30 every day to work out, to meditate, to journal, to read. So that's something also that I wish that the more attorneys can do that, to instead of being a little bit like robotic, you know. I like to have a lot of color because sometimes attorneys tend to go to a brown, so much brown, and so yeah, I'm just so blessed. So I
You
love your words.
and you can tell I mean, look at the beautiful outfit you're having right now. I mean, you know, it's I mean, it's not stereotypically an attorney outfit, right? It's an expression of you. And so, by finding your why, which is your niche, okay, and other attorneys should do the same thing, you effectively not only rounded out your practice area, but it also helps round out your life. It is part of your life.
Mhm.
I would say that if any attorney is looking to do a niche, what they have to do is exactly what you said: find your why. Why do I do what I do?
Mhm.
And I've had some great guests on: David Lefton, Brian Redden. Some really great attorneys, and all of them have echoed the same thing. I do this because it is me. It's who I am. I'd almost say to paraphrase a lot of the messages, it picked me. I didn't pick it. you know and you're why you were a kid, you saw the children selling candy, and that gave you purpose immediately. I want to help that situation, people that need help. And you've done a great job. It is what I called earlier next level lawyering. The fact that you've got a story about that painting behind you, and it exemplifies what you do and why you do it, that's next level lawyering. That's niching. And I think what lawyers should do is soul search. It's not just a job. I mean, it can be if that's all you want it to be, right? It could just be go through the motions, go to work 8 to 5, do your thing, and go home. But that's you know
That's a
um,
miserable existence from my experience.
I couldn't live that way.
This is
I
my
love.
this is my second go around
Yeah.
as an attorney practicing full time. And the first time it wasn't in something that I was passionate about, and it was a challenge every day. Now there's still a ton of work. That's not going to change,
Yeah.
but I love it. And I'm sure, Dave, you feel the same way.
You've
It's
broken the
not
mold, right?
easy, but you love it.
You've broken the mold because you have an
Yeah.
incredible reason for it. You know, Dave, you too. I don't. It's Dave's show, right? But Dave, you too. And it is your purpose. It's your being. I love this phrase from my mentor. My mentor sends gifts occasionally, and on the side of a Tervis cup, kind of like what you've got there. It wasn't a Tervis. I forget what it was, like a Yeti. It said, "I didn't come this far only to come this far."
Mm.
Oh my gosh. When I don't feel like I'm ever finished. Everybody says, well, "What about retirement?" And I'm like, "What in the world are you talking about? You're crazy."
Yeah.
Yeah, I will die serving what I do.
Of
You
course.
know, I don't have the purpose of sitting on a beach or playing. First off, I don't like golf. Sorry, everybody that hates me now all of a sudden. It's not my sport. It's not my thing. I'm a runner, but I have two purposes. I have three purposes: my family, my running, and my serving of this community. I would imagine you've got hobbies. What's your favorite hobby?
Um, right now it is working out. I love
Mm.
working out. I love reading. I love dreaming. Right now I'm dreaming. So in the sense that um just envisioning what do you want more.
Mhm.
Um so I have a 6-year-old, so I of course, if you wanted to call it a hobby. So yeah, my hobbies are just very limited, but they're in the morning. So reading, I love reading, but something that is not related to law, to expand myself as a human being. So I just finished Life Force, which I highly recommend it to everybody. So it is how, I mean, I will ask you a question, guys. So how long do you want to live? How,
78 and a half. No, 70. I'm sorry, 79 and a half.
and
I
the
know
question is
exactly.
why?
Huh? What is that?
Why?
Why? Well, insurance pays off at 79 and a half. If I go any further than that, it might not pay off, right? So I'll take care of my family forever and a day and their grandkids. That's one reason. And two, I'll have known my grandkids for a little while and have been able to, set a nice impression on them as I try to do with my own kids. And because I don't want anybody to take care of me, I at that point, I'm not so sure where my faculties are be.
And what about you, Dave?
Honestly, I don't feel comfortable saying an age because I don't think it can be determined until you see where you're at a year from now, 5 years from now, 30 years from now. Everything could change. Like Jim, you mentioned people taking care of you. It could happen at 79 and a half. It could happen at 60.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And that could drastically change, or I could be just wanting to go on forever.
Yeah. Dave, I'll say this much. My pastor years and years ago, I used to do this ministry at the church, and this is not a feather in the cap. I'm just using it as the reason why the story exists. I served 1,000 families a year in a basketball league that I ran. And my pastor, I told him how the struggle was, blah, blah, blah. And he said, you could die right now and you would have served more people than most people, ever consider in their entire lives. And you've done it in 1 year. Right. And I did it over 13 years. And so really, honestly, I joke around about the insurance. I feel that I will have fulfilled my expectations of myself by that point. That's for me,
Well, I think that everybody does. We have a fear of how we are going to end up to be like our body. So this book talks about how all the developments, the medical developments, like stem cells, how you can treat right now, the type of tests that you have to be asking your doctor to actually detect early before it's too late, and how to take care of your body, your mind, and all of that. So it was 600 pages that it took me 2 months. But I love that. So that is, you asked my hobbies.
We're going to link it in Amazon today in the comments. If you can get me that link, the book, I'll link it in Amazon.
Yes, sure. Yeah, it is amazing. It is. I think that if I would not be an attorney, I would have been a doctor, just because there is so much more to discover and to help people. So, and I have learned more about myself by reading that type of books. Before that is When the Body Says No, about the feelings and how rejection of the feelings will transfer into diagnosis, like a diseases, or Dr. Dispenza, the meditation, and the power of manifestation. So that is my hobbies. Those are my hobbies.
Those are awesome, and it's important to have that outside of work. It's so important. I don't even consider what I do work anymore. Do you?
No, I go to school. That's what I say. Okay, I'm gonna go to school, and I'm like, oh no, I have been in school outside of school like for 10 plus years, and that's what it comes out of my mind when I said that
We're always learning.
To the office.
Day, you're fan. Look, we're fans of you. I mean, we've always been fans.
I appreciate you, guys. Thank you very much.
And a segue on that, by the way, we've gotten more viewership on this show today than we ever have on any one single show. So you got the whole office watching. Is that what you?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate each one of you guys. No, it's
everybody. You're just awesome. You're just an awesome dynamic character, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but you are just an incredible person to talk to. So, we really appreciate it. We're going to run out of time here, but thank you so much for being on the show today, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jim, Dave. It has been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Day, I speak for both of us. The pleasure is all ours. Well, we're the benefactors in this show today.
No, we are too.
So, well, thanks a lot, everyone. Remember, No Law from Left Behind is on every Tuesday, 10:30 Eastern time. I'm sorry, I don't know who my guest is next week, but I'll make sure I publish it out there. If you're not a member on our No Law Firm Left Behind group on LinkedIn, please, by all means, go to LinkedIn and find No Law Firm Left Behind. You can search, find the group. And if you're in the legal community, we'd love to have you part of our exclusive group on LinkedIn. All these shows are up there and so on and so forth. And if you want to contact Day, we're going to put your contact up there. Shameless plug for the law firm. We couldn't do it without you. You know, your clients need you, and we really appreciate you. So take care of yourself.
You too, guys. Thank you very much.
Sit here and we'll talk off screen. So thanks a lot, everyone. See you next week. Bye, Dave.